We're taking a deep dive to a sunken marvel in the city of Baia, now an underwater archaeological park in the Bay of Naples. This was a city that ancient emperors in Rome, like Caesar and Nero, used to visit to relax and get a spa treatment. And it really would have looked majestic with its opulent villas, statues, hot springs, and stunning landscapes to boot. Visitors can dive amid historical ruins and get a glimpse of what once was the epitome of Roman grandeur. We are truly positive, daring, different here on Kaleidoscope. Welcome. Ahead of the show, we are finding out about an inclusive workplace, questioning the special commodity levy, and marveling at some birds of paradise. Kaleidoscope is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us as well as like us for more. A great big thank you to our amazing partners on the show for being wonderful, Srilanka Life, CDB and The Daily Morning.
CDB Hybrid Leasing. Enjoy exclusive interest rate and much more for hybrids, plug-in hybrids and EV vehicles.
Looking back at the week that was on CDB Snapshot. Airlines show interest in expanding flight operations in Sri Lanka after the country welcomes over 1.2 million tourists from January to August. The US dollar sees a sharp decline against the Sri Lankan rupee at a purchasing price of 295 rupees. Sri Lanka finally adopts the Sinhala and Tamil translations of the Geneva Conventions of 1949. Sri Lanka's women's cricket captain Chamari Atapattu wins the ICC Player of the Month award for July. The world's first fully automated dental procedure is performed by a robotic arm and AI in Colombia. A British tourist engraves his family initials into one of Pompeii's 2,000-year-old houses.
You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Srilanka Life.
Welcome to Srilanka Life News Capsule. We bring back to our show Principal Tax and Regulatory of KPMG Suresh Pereira for a quick explanation of the abolition of the special commodity levy, which was mentioned in and agreed upon under the new tax measures put forward at the IMF's second review. The SCL instead will be replaced by VAT, which is currently at 18%. So let's find out the implications. What about the substitution of this special commodity levy?
Yes, so let me put it this way. Prior to introduction of the special commodity levy, the essential goods were taxed at the basic rate, at the 5% VAT. So thereafter, there was a consolidation of all the import taxes attributable to these essential items. All the taxes were consolidated into a single tax called special commodity levy. But at the same time, there are drawbacks with regard to this special commodity levy, and it leaves room for corruption. It leaves also basically it is not in accordance with the constitution. According to the constitution, Parliament should have the full power over finance. But this concept is being breached in this statute because the power is concentrated in the hands of the finance minister to decide the rate at any time he or she wants to change the rates. So that basically that becomes a discretionary tax. So in the IMF diagnostic report, there is a reference to do away with discretionary taxes. So following this, there was a cabinet resolution to abolish the special commodity levy with effect from 1st of January 2025. And so in this IMF report, that substitution is taking place because of that condition. So conceptually, it is correct. Bringing this list of goods essential items to the VAT net is the correct principle. But the concern is, earlier it was 5%, a lower rate. Now it is 18% VAT. So because of that, not only that, moment you remove the special commodity levy, all the other taxes will also kick in, customs duty, excise duty, PAL, etc., all the other import duties. So because of that, in practice, the prices of these essential goods will go up in the marketplace. So I think the policymakers have to be mindful with regard to that and consider charging VAT not at the rate of 18%. We have to have a lower rate, say 5 or 6%, and use that rate, not 18%. If you use 18%, this is going to result in these prices of these essential items going up, and that's going to hit the common man.
And now for a quick look at the markets this week. At the Colombo Stock Exchange, the all-share price index continued to move downward, with average daily turnover levels also dropping below the 1 billion rupee mark. Oil prices climbed to $80 per barrel on estimates about shrinking US crude and gasoline inventories as the market watched for a possible widening of the Middle Eastern war, which could curtail global oil supplies. Gold prices continued to rise to an all-time high of $2,475 per ounce as the US dollar and treasury yields crept lower on expectations of a US interest rate cut from the US Federal Reserve in September. Meet SG, or security guard Conan, a full-time male cop in the Philippines. He's also a stray cat. And his human colleagues are finding it hard to do their jobs without him around. Time named its 100 greatest places to visit in 2024, and their picks are nothing short of extraordinary, from China to Mexico to Antarctica. The list is extensive. About 8.7% of Sri Lanka's population over the age of 5 live with some form of disability. Of the total, 43% are males and 57% are female. 70% of the people with disabilities in the employment age do not engage in any economic activity. So today we're talking to someone who has broken that barrier. Pahan Jayasinghe works at Barista, and we feature not just him but his mother as well, Sandhya Wijesekara, and we also find out from the CEO of Barista Coffee Lanka, Dilupa Pathirana, how he has broken the stigma and the barriers in the workplace. Dilupa, welcome to the program. Now, what challenges have you had to help Pahan with to make sure he integrates into the working environment?
The most important alteration was the mindset. That to get to understand that they also have their fair share of, opportunities, should be given their fair share of opportunities to contribute to the economy, to organizations. So I think that mindset was set from the top of the organization, and it has to flow down to the bottom of the organizations because they are the ones who are working with him on a daily basis. I think when you set that mindset, then you start seeing the room for them, the spaces for them, then where they can work. Even in Pahan's case, this job was not there in the job role. And then what we did was we amalgamate two people's jobs that Pahan can manage, and then we created that job for him. And he's doing a great job. So I think it's the mindset, frankly.
How much of flexibility do you need here, especially among the teammates here, to make sure that he performs, he optimizes his performance?
There were little alterations. I wouldn't say like, he can be coming and fitting into a day-to-day very busy, cafe life. But we being little creative also at times, like Pahan had some issues with his white shirt, for an example, right? The whole day, throughout the day, he get that thing a little untidy. So what we did was we introduced him a black t-shirt, which is perfect now. That problem is sorted. And also he travels every day from Malvana to Colombo alone. So we decided to send him home at 4 o'clock so that he can get home before dark. Like normal, our shift ends at around 6:30, sometimes it goes till night also. But Pahan always, we make sure that he lives here, and one of our employees always help him to cross the road to get to the bus. No, these are little human things. I even don't see them as like, big structural changes. But what I really need to tell is, it is our duty to get some, alterations done to include people like Pahan, like differently able people. If the able people don't help them, to whom that they can turn into?
So Dilupa, what does a person like Pahan bring to the table in a work environment like this?
In this case, Pahan brought a lot, to be honest. Especially Pahan, he's a very organized employee, and he follows the instruction to the dot. And he always want to contribute, and he always want his, presence felt. He's little shy in speaking, but from the day that he joined to today, he has improved a lot also. I think the most important thing that Sahan brings to the table is that sense of responsibility.
මේ පහන් වැඩ කරන්න ඉස්සෙල්ලා ගෙදර තත්ත්වය කොහොමද?
එයා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් එක තැනක නිකම්ම හිටියා. මුකුත්ම පාරක් පනින්න බෑ, මුකුත්ම බෑ, තනියෙන් එළියට බහින්න බෑ. රස්සාව කරන්න පස්සේ තනියෙන්ම ඔක්කොම කරගන්න ගත්තා. තනියෙන් යනවා, ඔක්කොම පාර පයින්නවා, ඔක්කොම තනියෙන් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් හිතා ගන්න බෑ මට නම් හීනියක් වගේ. දැන් නම් සෑහෙන්න හොඳ සාමාන්‍ය විදිහටම දැන් තියෙනවා. හැමදේම තනියෙන් පුළුවන්. ඉස්සරලා අලු ගානේ සපත්තු දෙකවත් දාගන්න බෑ. දැන් ඒ ඔක්කොම කරගන්නවා.
Those like Pahan don't need our sympathy. They need us to be accepting, being aware of their capabilities, which in turn translates into a productive and rewarding workplace for all. Persons with disabilities have abilities. It's for us to empower them to optimize those abilities. We constantly showcase Sri Lanka's amazing fauna and flora in many ways today. We celebrate some of the 524 bird species who make Sri Lanka so colourful and musical with their melodious calls. Two artists, entrepreneur Rai Kali Baltazar and designer Dinushi Pamanua, showcase their own version of this avian paradise, monochrome impressions of the birds of paradise. About 40 works were on display at one of Colombo's newest art spaces, Curado.
So Birds of Paradise is an art exhibition. I've been doing the pen art and I've collaborated with Dinushi Pamanua, who has been doing the batik art, and the batik art basically is the birds that I have drawn in pen. She has recreated them through batik and through the craft of batik, which we know is a dying craft in Sri Lanka, and a craft that isn't given enough prominence in the way it should. So this is in some way a way to reach out to audiences, to talk about the importance of birds, talk about the importance of bird conservation, and to also talk about batik craft and art in general.
Absolutely beautiful to look at, the paintings place the spotlight on not just Sri Lanka's unique biodiversity, but also underscore the uglier side of deforestation, habitat loss, and human-bird conflict, which all impact bird life, those who live here and the migratory birds as well. Both artists are very committed to conservation. Rai is all about sustainable practices, and Dinushi empowers local communities through her passion for batik. Her work was featured in British Vogue as well as at the Milan Fashion Week. So enjoy our amazing bird life this week, and we'll see you next week.